Okay, so today we continue with our class Halachos of Brochos. Today is class number 26. And we start with Sefer Halachos Chaim. Today's topic is between the teachers and students. Okay. Lashon Hara initiated by children and accepted by fact as a fact by their believing parents is often cause a major injustice. So a kid come from school and say that this teacher did this and this to me, right? It happened all too often that one of two key students in class arbitrarily take a disliking of their teacher, and stories are exaggerated and circulated. Okay. Well-meaning parents accept their children's account of going on at school, and before long, the teacher finds himself struggling to defend his position. So that's very scary. So as parents, of course, they would believe the children over the teacher, right? As every adult knows, students' dissatisfaction is not necessarily the indication of the teacher inadequacy as an educator, right? That just because they're failing does not mean that it's his problem. Maybe they're lazy, right? The student's version of the situation must be considered but not accepted as a fact. As through the discrete investigation, one which does not cause the teacher embarrassment must be conducted before the teacher is declared as at fault. Basically, before, yes, I mean, whatever a child says, you have to verify the things, right, with the facts. A teacher, too, must avoid believing accusations directed by students against one another. Here, too, an investigation is called for, and unless the fact can be established, no action should be taken, right? So the students also would tell on each other, he did this and she did that. So the teacher has no right to believe it right away, and I know it firsthand when I believe whatever I was told by somebody, and then like under little pressure, so the person said it's not true. So whatever I told you, like almost everything was lie. I'm not sure why, to impress me or to impress other people. I mean, right. So. Me personally have a good experience in this. Not when people exaggerate things and lie. Okay, so let's see. Chapter number 9. So it's very interesting chapter, and the subject is change of location. So basically, we spoke about it before. I mean, in general terms. So when you change the location, your bracha expires. Okay. So what is it change on location? That's the question. Introduction. In this chapter, we deal with what happens when one changes the location after having make a bracha. For example, one make a bracha and was in the midst of having a cup of coffee when he heard a friend arriving. Second, sorry. Sorry. So he heard the friend arriving. He stepped outside to speak to his friend. When he returned to finish his coffee, a new bracha is required. So it's very interesting scenario, right? So 1 second. So a person make a bracha on a coffee, right? Somebody called him outside. He went outside. Talk to this person, did not talk to the person, right? He comes in back to the kitchen, so now he has to make a new bracha. Okay. In section A, we discuss the rule of the change of location will terminate the effect of one's bracha. So, but we need to establish first what does it mean to change location, right? And what is considered to be location? One room or the whole apartment is a location? Okay. We're going to speak about it. In section B and C, we examine which types of changes are significant enough to cause one's bracha to terminate, and which changes are not. For example, leaving a building is considered a change of location. Changes one's seat from one side of the banquet ballroom to another is not considered a change of location. Right? So, and this ballroom, just for example, right, it could be huge ballroom. And so if he goes from one side to another, it's not change of location. So it could be so far, so he can hardly see his previous place where he was sitting, right? And changing and going out of the building, so building is 3 feet away, right? It is a change of location. Okay. In section D, we discussed the exception to the rule. One who was dining with a friend or a family member may leave the premises, then return to dine with him and is not required to make a new bracha. So that's a very, very interesting case. So he's eating with other people, right? And he went outside for whatever, take care of some business. He comes back and he continued eating, right? So that's it's very interesting. And but the simple explanation, because his eating session never ended. So eating session meaning other people will continue eating or they sitting around the table. So we're going to speak about it. So section E. So a lot of things in the chapter. We discuss another exception to the rule: eating while traveling. So basically, a person, let's say he's on a bus or in his car, let's say, right, and he's driving and he's eating or drinking, doesn't matter, right? So location is always changed. Is it considered change location just because he drove a very long distance or not? A change of location after eating bread or Mezonos generally does not cause the effect of one's bracha to terminate. This is discussed in section F. Right. So if he ate the bread, so he left, he can come back and continue eating bread or Mezonos. Why? And simple explanation is because for those we have to say the after blessing, which is Birchas Hamazon, right, and Ala Mechia for Mezonos, when at the same location where we ate. So basically, this person was expected to return. But we're going to see the details. Section G deals with the requirement of making bracha achrona before leaving the site when one had been eaten. So in order not to put ourselves in this doubtful situation, so you need to go outside, you need to do whatever we need to do. Just say concluding blessing, bracha achrona, go, take care of your business, come back, and then you say new blessing. Okay. So of course it depends, but we're going to see. So let's start from the beginning, section 8. Change of location will terminate one's eating session. Okay, there is a commentary. It says there are a number of exceptions to this rule. There are a number of exceptions to this rule. See below paragraph 1 through 4. Okay, D and E. Okay, no problem. Continue. So one more time, the section A. Change of location with terminates one eating session. Okay. Change of location will terminate one to make new bracha. Require one to make a new bracha. It's from Talmud Pesachim, page 101b. Okay. Generally, when a person makes a bracha, it will remain in effect for duration of his meal or eating session. A person's meal or eating session is considered by Chazal to be in progress only if he does not leave the location where he had been eating. Okay, so let's there is commentary. So let's read the commentary and then we're going to explain this piece. So commentary say in the previous chapter 8, we learned that certain actions cause eating session or meal to end. For example, if one washes his hands mayim ochranim, his meal is considered having ended. Should he then change his mind and resume eating, it would be considered a new meal, and new bracha will be required. This chapter discusses how and when the change of location will cause one's eating session to terminate. So it's actually, 1 second. That's actually what we learned in the last class, right? So we say how to end terminate your eating session. So you start saying Birchas Hamazon, or you say if an owner or person in charge say, okay, let's bench, right? Let's say Birchas Hamazon. So when person say that, it's indication that's it. Stop eating, basically. So here in that chapter in the last class, the situation was that the person was sitting in the same room at the same table. So he did not move, but with his word and with his actions, or he just washed his fingers, my machronim, right? So with his actions, with his words, so he showed that his session terminated. Here it's a little different. He did not say anything, right? In our case, I mean, maybe he did, maybe he did not, but he actually moved. He went out somewhere. So it's his physical relocation that made this eating session end. Okay. So basically, let's read one more time. Generally, when a person makes a bracha, it will remain in effect for the duration of the meal or eating session. A person's meal eating session is considered by Chazal to be in progress only if he does not leave the location where he had been eating. So of course we're going to see there is some exception, as we gave this example about bread. When there is a meal, bread meal, and it's still in progress, so somebody went outside and he comes back. I mean, let's say he forgot his phone in his car, right? So he went outside to get his phone from the car, right? But since everybody else were continue eating, so he does not have to say new blessing, basically, because it was bread meal and because people were around the table. Okay. All right, but otherwise, when one person leaves, okay, he started drinking coffee, he went outside to get to his car to get his phone. That's it. So he comes back to drink coffee again. He has to make a new blessing. That's what we said so far, but we will see there are exceptions. Therefore, after one changes location, his bracha is considered to be no longer effective. Okay, so that's it. So I think example. One starts eating fruit in his own house and then wishes to continue eating fruit in his friend's house. After leaving his house, he ends his first session, and upon beginning to eat in his friend's house, he initiates second session. So basically, after he left his house, so he would need to say another blessing in his friend's house, unless he's continue eating, right? So let's say if he walks with a cup of coffee and he can continue sipping coffee bit by bit, so it's not a termination of session. But if he ate, I don't know, whatever he ate, had some cookies, he started cookies in one place and then continue walking, and he actually wanted to bring these cookies to his friend, right? He ate few in his house, he went out, so he would need to make a new blessing in that friend's house, basically. Okay, continue. But of course there is exception. Let's see. Even if at the time one made the bracha, he had specific intent to continue eating in another location, nevertheless, since he changed his location, the eating session is considered ended, and his bracha is no longer valid. So that's very interesting thing. In the previous chapter, we said that it all depends on your on your intention, right? Or did I end the session, or I did not end the eating session, right? So if, for example, we said if a host said, let's bench, but in my mind, I wanted to still continue eating. So if the eating session did not terminate it for me. For him, yes. For me, no. Right? But here they say, very interesting. So I want to eat cookie in my house and in his house. So I started eating these cookies. And even though I was planning to eat in his house too, so the session was terminated once I left my house. Even if he takes the food that he was eating along with him, when he changes to another location, his eating session is terminated and a new bracha is required. So okay, so very interesting addition, right? So I mean, when we were start discussing the situation, that's how I imagined. He takes food from his house, start eating in his house, and bring to his friend's house, right? But what they say, don't think that we were discussing a case when he started eating in his house, and then he goes to the friend's house to eat food, the friend's food in his house. It's not okay. Even if I take everything with me. Furthermore, even if he will return to his original location, should he wish to continue eating, new bracha will be required. Okay. Except no, it's not except. So basically, he started eating cookies in his house, right? And he brought cookies to the friend's house. And let's say the friend is no longer there. Okay, he left. His mother said he's not there. So I want to go back to my house. I'm coming back to my house. So I need to make a new blessing on the cookies in my house to continue eating them. Basically, the eating session ended. Okay, so now we go into exceptions. As we said, there is the general rule, and there are some exceptions. Okay, we actually discussed this example, but let's see how they discuss it, how they describe it. Exception: continuous eating, as we said, or continuous drinking. So I walk, for example, or I hold a cluster of grapes and I can continue eating while I'm walking to my friend's house. So in this case, of course, the eating session did not terminate. But let's see. Exception: continue eating. When one makes a bracha on an item and changes his location while the item is still in his mouth, since there is no actual interruption in his eating, it cannot be considered to have ended when he exits. Right. So basically, when somebody goes out, the kid going out to outside, and he wants to take apple with him, right, or banana. So he starts eating banana in his house, and he goes outside and continue eating while he's outside of the house, right? So it's continuous session. Therefore, so if he continue eating while he's walking to wherever he was walking, the bracha remains swallowed, right? So basically, the same would be like if you were in your car, right? So you had coffee, and you were sipping this coffee. Now you live in your car, and you took this coffee with you. You sip a little while you're walking, and you can finish your coffee in the house. There is no problem with the same blessing. But if you stop, then that's the issue. For example, if one starts chewing a gum or sucking a candy, very interesting, in his house, and continues eating after exiting his house, a new bracha is not required for that piece of candy or gum. Okay, so because as we said, it's continuous session. Question?
Yes, isn't not recommended, or is not recommended to go eating while walking? Isn't that dangerous?
Oh yeah, that's a different story. Yeah. First of all, we learn in the Hilchot Diot, so don't drink in public, or don't eat in public. That's a different story. And plus, it is dangerous. Yeah, Rambam is very clear about it. He said you have to eat while you're sitting down. Of course, no, not even standing. Forget about walking. You're right. Yes.
Is any halakha about this, or only recommendation?
No, it's because as you said, a person puts himself in danger. So we're not allowed to put ourselves in danger. Yeah, that's halacha. It's a general halacha. You understand? So walking while eating, for sure, it's a dangerous, of course.
So, for example, the other day I was to save time and doing some stuff in the house, cleaning, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I start eating something, and I start walking and eating at the same time, and I beat myself because
Exactly.
so it's not very safe to do that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's not proper, but to say that it is forbidden, we cannot say. You understand? That's like far-fetched. But is it proper? No, it's not proper.
And another question is it possible to consider changing locations based on distance from the original table at the one he was eating?
Okay, so you're asking very, very interesting question, but let's continue reading because they're going to discuss all of the variation. Is he, for example, if he has a terrace or a balcony, right? If he goes to the balcony, is it the same as a room? And not as the same room. Can you see that location from a new location? He cannot. So let's go according to the book, okay? Because he's going to discuss all this. That's main points, of course. So it's not the distance. It's not. Okay. So continue. According to some poskim. Okay. According to some poskim, if one leaves the house while eating an item, for example, an apple, and continues without pausing between bites, a new bracha is not required for the portion eaten in a subsequent location. Okay. So as it's apple. I mean, you don't have to continue biting, but you're chewing something, right? Of course, as we said, it's not. It's a danger to life and stuff like that. That's a different story, right? But but if he continue chewing while walking, so that's a different story. Yeah, according to some poskim, he would not need to make another blessing. So commentary: when one eats in a continuous manner, each new bite takes a place of toch kidei dibur. Takes place of previous bite. When action takes when an action takes place, toch kidei dibur of the previous action, it is considered as both actions occurring simultaneously. Toch kidei dibur means within the time that it takes a phrase. So, and Chazal define the phrase is Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. Right? Somebody says Shalom Aleichem Rebbe Amori. So Rebbe, my teacher. So basically, what does it mean? And this Toch Kidei Dibur is actually, it's everywhere. I mean, we discussed it in chapters where we say if he said the wrong blessings, right? On potatoes, he said that it's fruit of the tree. Let's say, right? He said on potatoes, so it's not valid blessing. So he has this amount of time, as we said, like around 2 seconds to 2.5 seconds to correct himself. So if he corrected or she corrected themselves, there is no problem. No new bracha is required. But if he did not, right? If he froze and or took the first bite, whatever, so it's already too late. So he would need to make a new blessing all, right? So basically, this 3 seconds. So basically, what this commentary is trying to explain, that if he continues eating and continuous eating, meaning without pausing, like every few seconds, there is he takes a bite or continue chewing. So it doesn't have to be like bites. Right? I mean, it says and continue without pausing between the bites. But you need to chew food. Did we say? Yeah. No. We're learning in kids on Tuesday about properly chewing food, right? Okay. A new bracha is not required, so according to these authorities, for a portion eaten in a subsequent location. So D. So let's. So if he left his house while eating and continue eating and chewing, so he can come to a different location and finish his apple there. Okay, let's read the commentary and we're going to explain. This exception also applies to those items which took along with him. There is when he made the bracha, he planned to eat more than one item. He took additional ones along. For example, one make a bracha and planned to eat bag of potato chips. Okay, that's another example, right? In his house. Shortly thereafter, he left the house, taking potato chips with him. As long as he continues to eat without pausing between the chips, right, he is not required to make a new bracha. However, if he purchases more potato chips along the way, or he pauses for a longer than Toch Pidei Dibur, a new bracha will be required. So what I would say, it's very questionable situation, right? Let's say he did not talk for he did not eat for these 3 seconds, and he did not bite and he did not chew. So that's already put him in a situation when he needs to make a new bracha. I would say don't do it, even though some authorities allow. It's better to stay away from that. And as we learn in Hilchot Diot, Rambam said, do not eat outside. That's not derech eretz. So it's not proper way of eating, right? Okay, continue. Although according to this view, when one eats continuously, his bracha remains effective as he changes location. Nevertheless, lechatchila. So lechatchila is before the fact, right? In the beginning, initially, one should stop eating prior to leaving his original location. After changing the location, he should make a new bracha when he resumes eating. So I would say the easiest thing would be not to start eating, bring the potato chips to his friend's house and eat there. Or if you want to eat these chips or whatever you want to eat, finish eating before going out, say the blessing, after the blessing, and continue, go to your friend's house, and whenever you want to eat, and that's it. It's going to be according to all of the opinions. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Will be according to all of the opinions. Okay, so number 2. Exception. Someone remains at the table. If one was eating with a friend or family members and leaves, he may continue to eat with them when he returns without making new bracha. This subject is discussed more fully in section D. So why? Because the simple explanation. So when we established the eating session, it was established with me, and my friend, right? Let's say my wife, right? So we established eating session. So I went out, but she's still there at the table. So the eating session never terminated, even though I was not there. But eating session was for a group of people. So that's simple explanation, but we're going to go in details later on. So number 3, exceptions. Leaving for a few moments. According to some poskim, if one left the building for a few moments to perform a task which will not cause him to become distracted and forget about finishing his meal, for example, to take a mail or help his wife bring in some packages from the car, it is not considered the terminating of his eating session. When he resumes eating, he will not be required to make new bracha. Okay. So one of the reasons when we say that his eating session terminated mean that his kavanah, his intention, continued is no longer there. Why? Because the food is not there. He's not eating. So maybe he thinks about something else. When he's in that room and food is in front of him, so of course his eating session never stopped. Right? His intention to continue it never stopped. So what they say here, this exception, if he went out for a quick minutes, 2 minutes, okay. So I mean, his wife call him, bring the groceries up, and basically he wants to do it as soon as possible. Why? Because he wants to continue, like finish his meal and do whatever he needs to do after that. So he never took his mind away from this meal. Okay. Many poskim rule that even in such a cases, the moment he steps outside of the building, his eating session terminated. If he wishes to resume eating, he must take a new bracha. Make a new bracha. Let's see commentary. There is yet another view among the poskim, which rules as follows: if one left for a few moments while in the middle of the meal or drinking session, it is not considered a termination of the session, and the bracha remains in effect when he returns. However, if he left in the middle of the snack, even though he left only for a few moments, it is considered a termination. A new bracha is required. So very interesting. So this note is like a middle opinion between the two. So first opinion said no, no. First opinion said that when he went out to help his wife for a few minutes, his eating session did not terminate. Other poskim said no. Well, once he stepped out one step out of the building, right, his eating session terminated. And the commentary, I mean, we're going to finish now, but commentary say it's like middle of the road opinion. What? Say if he was in the middle of the meal, like something significant, let's say, I don't want to say bread meal. Bread meal is different. It did not terminate. But let's say, I don't know, he was eating soup and salad, let's say, some like meal. So in this case, they say, even if he went for a few minutes, right? So it's not terminated. But if he was in the middle of, I don't know, apple or in the middle of banana of candy bar, so it's not considered to be meal. It's considered to be snack. So then it is terminated. It's like middle of the road. Very interesting. Continue. So with this commentary, all the other poskim concur that if one was in the middle of the meal, consisting of bread or Mezonos, there is he ate kizayis of bread or Mezonos before he left. Oh, that's very interesting, right? Very important. It is not considered termination as explained in section F. So we're going to get to it, Be'Ezrat Hashem. See section F regarding one who ate a kizayis or more of one of the fruits of the seven species, or drank revi'is or more wine before he left. Okay, we're going to discuss, but okay, so let's try to understand. First, we said the exception. Exception, what is a bread meal, as we discussed last class, and we the author noted today also, right? That if he went out during the bread meal or Mezonos meal, so it's not termination of the session. With the condition that he ate a kizayis. So what is a kizayis? Kizayis is a minimum requirement for a meal, right? To say after blessing. So if person ate less than kizayis, he's not allowed even to say after blessing, right? So and because it's not even a meal, right? But kizayis, so it's already a meal. So meaning that he's in the middle of the meal. Basically, in other words, to say if he took one bite of the bread, of course, it's not kizayis. Kizayis, as we said, it's 1 ounce, approximately 28 grams, approximately, right? So if he ate less than that and went out, he comes back, he would need to say new blessing on the bread. And probably also wash the hands without blessing. So we'll see. Continue. Actually, let's start from the beginning. This paragraph, and because there is continuation. Many poskim rule that even in such a case, the moment he steps out of the building, his eating session terminates. If he wishes to resume eating, he must make new bracha, right? So it's middle of the road opinion. Since the requirement to make new bracha in such a case questionable, one should not change location in the middle of the eating, even if only for a few moments. So that's the bottom line, right? So since some rabbis say that when you go out only for a few minutes, there is no problem. Others say yes, it is a problem, right? The third opinion said it depends if it's a big meal, so it's not a problem, but snack is a problem. So the proper way is not to put yourself in this situation. That's it. Okay. If one must leave for a few moments, he should not make new bracha when he resumes eating. That's the bottom line, because making a bracha in vain is a biblical violation, right? Making a bracha in general it's rabbinical, right? Saying Hashem's name in vain, it's a biblical. So in all of the cases of the doubt, if he put it himself in such a situation, what we say, don't say the blessing. Rather, he should take an item of the same bracha category, which was definitely not covered by the original bracha, and should make the bracha on that item, while having intent to cover the original food. Just let me just finish then the answer. So it says, see also chapter 16, section B, for other suggestions regarding what to do in situation when making bracha in question. So, okay, so let's first understand what it says here. So to cover all of the bases, let's say he was eating apple, and then he stopped eating apple, and he went out to help his wife, whatever. So they say, since it is questionable, some say don't need to say the blessing. Others say need to say the blessing. So they say the solution, straightforward, according to all our opinions, say blessing, on something that was not covered. So if you have grapes or something in the refrigerator, so say blessing on that one, and it's going to cover the current apple. That's it. Regarding what to do, if he did leave for a few moments and did not have another item upon which to make blessing, see chapter 16. So they say, what does it mean? 1 second. The same bracha category, which is not covered by the original bracha. So basically, if he ate an apple and now he wants to say on a candy, it's not going to help him much. Okay, question? Go ahead.
Yes, about the hamotzi. What about hamotzi? Did it require hamotzi blessing even with 1 gram?
Yes. It doesn't matter. There is no minimum on bracha rishona, the first blessing. There is no minimum whatsoever. But the minimum requirements is after eating. So since our sages say, so a person cannot get any satiation unless he ate at least one kizayis, right? And not only one kizayis during the certain period of time. So it's not considered to be eaten at all. So it's like right. So we have to say thank Hashem for something like substantial. Substantial, they say at least one kizayis. And the proper way to eat one kizayis, they say in 2 to 3 minutes. But as we say, there is a lenient opinion in case of the need, he can rely on 9 minutes. But better keep this 2 or 3 minutes as a rule. Okay. Any other questions or continue? Okay, so continue.
Now it's
what?
For now, it's okay.
Okay. So number 4, exception, traveler. Okay. When one eats as he walks or travels, he generally does not intend to establish himself in any one location. Thus, he may in many instances, a traveler's bracha will remain valid despite the change of location. This subject is discussed more fully in section 8. In section 8. So basically, he eats or he drinks his coffee and he continue walking. Is it proper conduct for a Jew? No, but okay. Number 5, change the location after eating bread or Mezonos. Change the location after eating bread or Mezonos, or according to some poskim, fruit of the 7 species. So, okay. It has different rules than other foods. In order to understand why the change of location after these foods is different from a change of location after other foods, see section F. So we're going to get this. It's in the end of the chapter, basically. So, but for now, let's keep in mind. So whatever we said so far does not apply to the bread, Mezonos meaning cakes and other things, made of 5 species of grain, right? And plus, it does not apply, according to some poskim, to 7 species. Okay. Continue. B, section B. What is considered change of location? So that was our original question. So it said, not every change of location causes the eating session to end. In this section, we'll examine the types of location changes which the poskim view as significant enough to be considered as a terminating one's eating session, resulting in original bracha becomes invalid. So that's what's the question. That's what I said. We're going to answer in the book. So number 1, leaving a building. If one leaves the building where he made the bracha, his eating session is considered terminated. So basically straightforward. Okay. Change from one wing of the building to another wing is not considered the change of location, provided that both wings are under this one roof. Okay. So from one side of the building to another side of the building, no problem. If he goes out of the building, it is the end of his eating session. Separated buildings, even if owned and used by the same individual, and on a single lot, for example, house with a pool, with a pool cabana, detached garage, or office in his backyard, are considered 2 separate locations. So even though it's surrounded by the same fence and all belongs to him, but once he went out of the house to all these places, garage or other things, so it's a new location, and his eating session was terminated. A freestanding sukkah, there is one which is not adjacent to the house, is not viewed as an extension of the house, because one who started eating in a sukkah and then went into the house, or vice versa, will require to make a new bracha if he wishes to continue eating. Regarding leaving the sukkah for a few moments, see A3. Okay. Regarding the attached sukkah, to C5. Okay, we're going to get to C5. So basically with this sukkah, so some people make for example, they have some kind of porch, right, or some kind of balcony, and they do the entrance into the sukkah right across from the door from the balcony. So you open the door of the balcony and you go right into the sukkah. Right, but so if this what is it, house is one of the walls, that's one thing. But if it's freestanding sukkah, like and the doors are very close to each other, so it's not, it's different location basically. Okay, so it's not adjacent to the house. Okay, continue. Number 2, apartment house. A change of location from one tenant's apartment to another tenant apartment will terminate the session, even though both apartments are under the same roof. Since each apartment is a private domain of a particular tenant, a change from one apartment to another is regarded a change from building to building. So that's a thing when some people get confused. So on one hand, we said that if it's in one wing of the house and another wing, what's the problem, right? And here we're talking about the change. For example, I have a next door neighbor, like it's few feet from my house, from my door to his door, right? But this is actually the different domain. Okay, so this roof does not join two apartments together. If it's all my house, like if a person lives in a private house, and so it's going to be, it doesn't matter where is he, right? It's his, he's still under the same roof. We're going to discuss it, but two apartments are not considered to be under the same roof, even though physically they are. And the same with a roof. So you're not allowed to, on Shabbos, you're not allowed to carry from one apartment to another unless they did a roof. The residents of the building could did a roof, or there is a roof in a community. Okay, so basically, if I want to come to my friend, so I cannot bring the bottle of wine or challah or whatever I want. Okay, so do everything before Shabbos, then you're safe. Okay, number 3, building to courtyard. Building to courtyard. Okay, a building and its courtyard or a backyard are considered two separate locations, even if the building and the courtyard are both private property of one owner. When he exits the building to go to the courtyard, his eating session terminates. Right, that's it. So you're in a house and you want to go outside or to the courtyard, so it's you need to say new blessing, and unless, as we say, he continues eating, that's a different story. Okay, so number 4, live in an enclosed yard. Enclosed outdoor area such as fenced-in backyard, gardens or pool areas have essentially the same halacha as a building. With regard to exiting after making bracha. So basically, he has a big property, let's say backyard, and he has a pool or whatever he has. So it's all like his room, basically, right? It could be big, but it has to be enclosed with a fence. So if it's open without fence, so it's not it's not considered to be a room. Thus, if one started eating in his fenced-in backyard and then exited, his eating session is terminated, right? So he went outside, like on the road. When he resumes eating, new bracha is required. So that's straightforward. So his room or his backyard, fence. What is it? How they call it? Fenced-in backyard. Okay. The rules which govern the change from one building to another are applicable to change from one enclosed yard to another. So it doesn't, like as I said, from one apartment in a building to another, from one yard to another. So it's totally different things. So for example, I have a entrance from my yard to the friends, my neighbor's yard. So it's different location. The rules which govern from change from one person's apartment to a neighbor's apartment are applicable to the change of one person's enclosed backyard to his neighbor's enclosed backyard, even if the yards adjoin one another. So usually it's a common fence. It's like 2 fences, right? Does not make any difference. So I go to him. So my eating session basically terminated. Similarly, the rules which govern change from a building to open courtyard as we said, he must say a new blessing. Applicable to the change from enclosed yard to the open yard, or open courtyard. So let's say he has a big yard. Half of it is enclosed with a fence, and second half is like garden. So if he goes through this enclosed into the garden, so he has to make a new blessing. Okay. Number 5, exceptions. Within the site of the original location. So that's what we actually mentioned before. Wow. Time flies very fast, unfortunately. I was planning to finish this chapter. Okay. That's funny. Okay, exceptions. Within the site of the original location. And this concept, I want to remind everybody, this concept we actually discussed in the Laws of Shabbos regarding Kiddush, right? If you can see, if you did Kiddush in one place and you want to eat in a different place, right? That's what we say. If he's still able to see that location, so after the fact, no problem. It's considered to be like he ate in the same room as he did, as he ate in the same location as he made Kiddush, because it's a requirement. So one more time, exception within the site of the original location. In a second location, in the yard, or in a second building, within the site of the original location, according to some poskim, so not everybody is some poskim, it is not considered the change of location. Other poskim rule that even though he is within the site of the original location, it is considered the change of location. Therefore, one should initially not change his eating location from within the building to the outside of the building, even if he remains within the site of the original location. Be'Ezrat, so after the fact, however, new bracha should not be made. Okay, so let's read the example and then we're going to explain. For example, after starting to eat some fruit, one stepped into his yard or to wait for something to be delivered. From his current vantage point, he can see the part of the room which was his original eating location. For example, he can see the original site through the open window, door or window. If he wishes to continue eating outside or resume eating inside, he should not make a new blessing. Okay, so basically, according to some poskim, so if you can still see from where you right now, like a place where you make the blessing, so according to them, so you don't need to make a new blessing. So I mean, if it's close enough, I guess if there are windows on that side of the building, maybe there are no windows, right? So basically, if you left the door open or window open, so but if you only theoretically can see it, so it's not this not going to fly. So you have to like physically able to see that location where you made the blessing. So in this case, according to this paskim, of course, when it says Be'Ezrat, so Be'Ezrat, it means after the fact. So you already did. So they told you not to do it. Don't put yourself in this situation. Not to go outside while you're eating. So maybe you need a new blessing, maybe you don't. And person did. So after the fact, if he can see the old location where he made the additional blessing, so he's not. We tell him not to make a new blessing, right? Because there is some poskim to rely upon. Okay, 6. Walking walkway or street between the locations. If there is a walkway or street between the two locations, even though he is within the site of the original location, it is nevertheless considered a change of location, and the original bracha is not valid. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so one more time. I'm not sure what we're going to add with that to what we said. Walkway or the street between locations. If there is a walkway or a street between the two locations, even though he is within the site of the original location, it is nevertheless considered the change of location, and the original bracha is not valid. So there is no explanation. So, but basically, it's not. It's a eventually. It's a, we never discussed the situation like that. So there is like some kind of road that connects two locations. I would say maybe from his house to his garage, right? So he goes to his garage, and on this walkway, and even though he can see the place where he made the blessing, but they say do not. So it's still his eating session was terminated. Okay. Even though he can see, I'm not sure what is the logical explanation. I don't know. Okay. So next session, C. What is not considered change of location? So number one, within a room, one may change location from one side to another, within the same room, no matter how large it is. I mean, in a house, it's of course it's tiny, but in a hall, the ballroom halls, yes, that's could be huge. This is not considered a change of location and will therefore not terminate one's eating session. For example, if one make a bracha and started eating in one side of the large ballroom, he may change his seat and continue eating anywhere within the ballroom. Okay, so let's see the commentary. Even if the second location is not within the site of the first location, for example, a piece of furniture or appliance, right, or another abstraction stand between two locations. Okay, and block the view, his view, since the location are within the same room. The bracha remains valid. So basically, even if a room, it's a large room, but let's say the sitting area is in an L shape, right? L shape. So basically, because of there's some equipment, some whatever it is. So he from his new location, he cannot see the old location where he made the original blessing. But why? What we say, since it's the same room, there is no problem. So he can do whatever he wants. I mean, he's not required to make a new blessing. Number two, within enclosed yard. One may change location from one side to enclosed yard. For example, a fence in yard, garden, or ball court. Ball court. No matter how large. To another site, and it is not considered a change of location, and original bracha remains valid. So it's very interesting. So something close, for example, they give an example of a stadium, right? So a huge stadium can hold 100,000 people. So even though he starts from on one side of the stand and he goes to the another, so it's still since it is still enclosed, so there is no problem. It's not a change of location. Okay.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What if someone changes location within a park and this park is huge enough that it takes more than 9 minutes to move from the A point to the B point?
Exactly. So it's our next session. So I just got some page. I just looked while you were talking. I saw what is next. It's coming next in 3 sentences. So let's see. So far we were talking about yard enclosed with a fence, enclosed with shrubs or eruv, Suras HaPesach, right? A yard enclosed with the shrubs or an eruv, considered like that one large room. Accordingly, a move from one side of the yard to another is not considered a change of location. So let me see the commentary, because something does not make sense. Even if the shrubs in enclosing the property do not constitute the acceptable enclosure, with regard to the carrying of Shabbos. For example, they're less than 10 tefachim high. Nevertheless, if the property is not noticeably enclosed, it is considered one room. Okay, so let's try to understand before we continue. So first we said we're going to read it again, but what's considered to be fence? Fence is considered to be it's not going to work for mechitz, but official fence, we said that 10 tefachim. So 10 tefachim is approximately what? It's like 35 inches, plus minus, right? 35 inches. So even if the shrubs are less than that, right? So it would be, if they have the fence this tall, 35 inches, so you would be allowed to carry on Shabbos. So if less than that, you would not. So 35 inches, I think you have to multiply by 2 or so. So it's 70, I don't know, 80. Like, let's say 1 meter in meters. I'm not sure. Right? Approximately, plus minus 90 centimeters. So so if it's less than that, so it's not considered to be a fence for Shabbos carrying. But for this, there is no problem. Right, so if it's not noticeably like enclosed, right? It's like a fence, so it's considered to be enclosed. Very interesting. So, but what interesting thing? So I'm going to read again and see what is very interesting. The yard enclosed in shrubs or an eruv or an eruv is considered like one large room. Accordingly, a move from one side of the yard to another is not considered to change of location. Okay, so it's not considered to be change of location. So what does it mean? So, but if they have a eruv like where I live, there is a huge eruv, like I don't know, miles and miles. I don't know how many miles, maybe 5 miles, maybe 7 miles. I don't know, like huge eruv. So, but I'm not sure that they would say that even though you have this eruv, when you go outside of your house, you don't need to say any blessing. I don't think so. Maybe some smaller eruv, like people build their local eruv. That would be different. Okay, so let's do the open park area, right? Wherever this question was, open area park. According to many poskim, if one is eating in the open yard or park and moves to a different site within the park, as long as he is within the site of the original place, provided that the street or walkway do not separate the two places. It is not considered the change of location, and its blessing remain valid. So the key point here is this road. If road separates, so it's considered two different locations, right? Okay, so let's read from the beginning and then we explain again. So it says, according to many poskim, if one is eating in an open yard or park, or moves to a different site within the park, as long as he is within the site. So within the site, I mean, if there's no trees, let's say, if there are trees, so maybe it's not so easy to see, or if it's not flat, it's going up and down. So that's also not so easy to see. But if, let's say, it's flat, right, and so as far as you can see it, so it is covered. The blessing is still working, provided that the street or walkway does not separate the two places. So if there is a street or there is a walkway, it means that from this side of the walkway it's one place, and from another side of the walkway is a different place. That's I think the explanation, as we said before, the walkway between the buildings. That's a totally different location. Okay, so let's do maybe a few more minutes because I have another class soon. Oh, 1 second. few more minutes. So number 4, room to room within the building. According to some poskim, when one makes a bracha in one room and goes to another room, it is considered to change the location. Right? So even in one building. So okay. So let's see. However, if one has a specific intent to eat in another room, or if his second room is within the site of the first room, he may start eating in one room, then go to another room, and his bracha will remain in effect. So let's see the commentary. Regarding the change from the building to building, or from building to the courtyard, where the original bracha is still within the site, see B5. Okay, we said it. So basically, if one in the room, for example, simple example, he is making himself a drink, right, tea, and he tastes the tea, but he wants to go and do something on the computer and drink the tea, right? So it's different rooms, the kitchen and where his computer is different rooms. So if he has intent, and usually he does, I mean, he just tastes it, maybe it needs more sugar, maybe it's too hot, maybe too cold. So in this case, it's the blessing actually covered. Okay. Some Rishonim state that the change of location from one room to another room within the same building does not terminate the effect of bracha. So there are two strong opinions on one side and another side. Okay, but if we said, as we said before, if he has intention, so to eat in different places, or drink in different places, that's actually how. The poskim rule, therefore, that if one did move from to another room and had no specific intent to eat there, or was the other room, nor was the other room within the site of the first, nevertheless the bracha is valid b'di'evet, and another bracha should not be made. Okay, so let's see comment. So let's read the commentary and then we explain. The Mishnah Brura, Mibir Halacha 178.1, said that although one should have a specific intent, nevertheless, since there are many Rishonim, right, who do not consider move from room to room to be deemed change of location, those who wish to change the location from room to room without having specific intent should not be told that they are acting incorrectly. So, lechatchila, like in the beginning, don't do it, because there are some poskim say that it is actually change of location. So the intent that you're moving from one room to another actually helps a lot. So I think that should be our approach. Have intent, or don't start eating this room. That's it. But after the fact, if he moved or she moved, so don't make a new blessing. That's the bottom line. So one more time, we read what we said and explain. The Paskin rule this, therefore, that if one did move to another room, he did move, and had no specific intent to eat there. So in the beginning, he was planning to eat in the kitchen, and then he decided to go to check log into his work from his computer, right? Let's say, right? So he goes to that room. He did not have a specific intent, right? So after the fact, and he cannot see one place from another where he make the blessing and where he's going to eat now. Nor was the other room within the site of the first. Nevertheless, the bracha is valid b'di'evet. So after the fact, don't make a new blessing. Another bracha should not be made. Okay. Continue. Last piece and we stop. Attached sukkah. A sukkah which is attached to one's house and has a door or entry directly into the house. So basically, what does it mean attached to the house? The only, as we said before, the only way to get to the sukkah is through the house. That's it. There is no other way to get to the sukkah. Directly to the house is viewed as one of the rooms of the house, right? The rules govern the change of location, room to room, in the same building, apply to this situation as well. Regarding the freestanding sukkah, see B1. So basically, we said that it's like a separate building, right? Okay. So we can stop here, but if you have questions, I have a few minutes. Actually, I don't. Okay, maybe only one question. Go ahead. One question I can answer.
Can we avoid all of this? Is it possible? Any leniency? Because maybe we are risking to say blessings in vain.
No, but we said in all of this, after the fact, do not say the blessing. Do not. Nobody said to say the. I mean, there's some poskim say yes, some poskim said no. So they say after the fact, like find different solution. Have intention that I'm going to eat in different room, right? So I'm going to start. I'm making my coffee in the kitchen, but I'm going to drink it next to the computer, and I cannot see the one location from another. But if you can see one location from another, so that changes the story. So according to some poskim, so it's like you don't need to say any other blessings. That's it. It's like same room, almost the same room. Let's say, even if it's not, but halachically, don't need to make any blessings. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, I scheduled to close. I apologize. All right. So Be'Ezrat Hashem, good Shabbos, and until Monday, 8:15 p.m. Be'Ezrat Hashem. Thank you.
Good night.